It is time. It is time to talk about one of the strongest, if not the strongest, tags that can be played in EU5. In EU4, it was arguably the strongest. In EU5, it starts small, but what I'm gonna show you today, in the experience of the Ottoman Empire, you'll see that it is very hard to not become one of the greatest empires in Europe and the Middle East. So first of all, a bit of a background on the Ottomans, like what kind of information you get when you log in EU5. So you get information that, well, the Ottomans were founded just a few decades before the start of EU5, because in 1299, and the starting ruler, Osmanoglu Gazi Orhan Bey, is still alive. His stats are great, 74, 76, 89, still not as great as Casimir the Great, just slightly lower. What we also see is new UI for the country screen, because now we are seeing here this additional information. Amount of the troops, amount of the ships, base tax, population, which was before, and amount of the locations. Obviously the Ottomans are Greek and Orthodox, as you see here, just majority of the country are because they conquered it from the previous lands of Byzantium. This is how the terrain map mode is looking like, and strictly political map mode. They do have a lot of estates, just like in EU4, but their naming is adjusted. They are not having default names, so we're having Kram, we're having Guzat for nobility, Ulama for the clergy, burghers, still the same name, commoners, default name, Dhimmi, as well as tribes. And since Dhimmi is everyone that is wrong religion, I assume, that is a big chunk of the population, most of the actual population of the starting Ottomans. Their main government form is Anatolian Beylik, which also some other beyliks in Anatolia starts with, which gives them unjustified war on the same religion cost decreased, but more importantly, cabinet seats. Cabinet seats is one of the most important modifiers in EU5 because a lot of your actions depend on the cabinet. And the non-cultural levy size, we've got some estate privileges like Ghazi Lords that gives you army morale and even higher levy size. You have a very unique succession law where it is only male allowed and only from nobility and crown estates. They do start with a royal harem policy that gives you additional prestige. Well, yeah, this is it for like some basic information that you start with. Let's take a look at their national ideas, so advances. Ghazi gives them slave rate efficiency. Ujbey gives them Ujbey subject type, which is kinda standard subject with a difference that they cost you 0 diplomatic capacity to own. So you can have infinite number of them that will cost you nothing in the capacity, and they will be joining all of your defensive and offensive wars. Heirs of Rome, I love that flag, is giving you monthly prestige, but more importantly speed of integration. Akin Chilar is a special unit type for cavalry that they start with. The Law Code of Suleiman is giving you a policy canon in its money that is really strong because it gives you tax efficiency, it gives you distance cost to capital, which with the expansion of the Ottomans will be very important for you to have any control of the lands outside of around your capital. The Tulip period from Age of Absolutism, much farther in the game, 2.5 trade efficiency, come on. Imperial School of Naval Engineering from Age of Revolution, so we finally see some late game advances. Shipbuilding speed, and more importantly, one of the key advances that they will be having are the Janissaries, which is unlocking the Janissary barracks building. That is obviously a strong source of the manpower and where you can simply build regiments. They do also have a separate advance to unlock the Janissary guards unit type that then in each age will be improved. So for example, in the Age of Reformation you'll be having Janissary musketeers, where we can see in action like different sized regiments. Early on, see the regiment size is 200, and here in Age of Reformation it's already 800, an improvement to EU4 when it was always 1000. The key part of the Ottomans content will be an international situation that the Beyliks in Anatolia start with. So the rise of the Ottomans. What's important about that situation is that it is designed mainly for the Ottomans, especially when the player is playing as it, But if any other beylik becomes stronger than the Ottomans, they're gonna take over the key parts of the content for the situation. Plus, all of the beyliks in Anatolia are using that situation just in a bit limited way compared to the Ottomans. So what it is giving to that strongest beylik is Legacy of Osman guarantee form, which is replacing the Anatolian beylik. That gives you max control, speed of integration, possible guarantee forms, cabinet seats, same as the Anatolian beyliks, and antagonist received, so that's like AE impact from EU4. And finally, raid religious enemies for slaves. This is a really strong reform, one of the reasons I told you that's gonna be an insane country in EU5. Then the leader of the Turks is additional cultural tradition, max control, speed of integration, possible guarantee forms, and diplomatic capacity. But yeah, here's the panel of all of the actions that you'll be able to do in that international situation. So you see, the strongest beylik is listed here, but also the number 2 and number 3. What are the differences? And all of these actions available. Let's look what these actions are doing. So press claims is the ability for the strongest of the beyliks to fabricate a claim against an enemy in Anatolia. Raise the Bey Fortress is a unique building that can increase the force level of a location and produces an ample, steady supply of manpower. So not only a fort, but also a manpower resource. And then even that you'll get when you build a fort at a specific location will be dynamic depending where you build it. Like is it Bursa, Izmit, Konya, Smyrna, etc., which is gonna give you some immediate bonuses as well. But at the same time, what gives you initially a good bonus, if you let it be sieged down by the enemies, you're gonna be hit with a negative stability and legitimacy. So you see, if, for example, you build something in Izmit, you're gonna get prestige, and also for 10 years is gonna get additional control and prosperity. Seek relations with the Byzantines, as long as they hold Constantinople. Any beylik that is strong enough will be able to leverage diplomacy to extract gifts from the empire. So it could be a hand of the daughter from Byzantium, it could be some money, recognition of a beylik that is a sovereign of Anatolia, or even gives you some good characters. Offer diplomatic protection, which is mainly for relations with the other beyliks, so it could be a marriage, it could be exchanging territories, or just simply doing a diplomacy for a guarantee. Create an Uch Bey is that's special subject type. We learn actually here how it is different to normal nations, because Uch Beys are army-based countries. So not only hordes are army-based countries, whose goal is to protect the beylik's borders from the enemies. Since Anatolia is traversed by the Great Trunk Road, controlling important cities on that road, like Konya and Sivas, will be giving you a scaling bonus to your merchant's estate. So you see, this privilege will grant 1% trade efficiency for each of these locations that we control directly. Konya and Sivas will be generally important because Seljuks created mints over there, which were producing coins for the Sultanate. So actually taking over these locations and building them up are gonna give you good bonuses, like Seljuk mint in Konya, as you see. It's increasing your crown power, but it's also giving you local proximity source and monthly development growth. Interestingly, once the strongest beylik consolidates the holdings in Anatolia, that is mainly Greek culture, you'll be able to call a great Turkish migration from the east to that region to, historically represent how there are more and more Turks in this region compared to the Greeks. So you see, the number of migrants that will travel is dynamically balanced. The pops will always come from a province with an ample population, and the amount of pops will always be relevant to the target province we are trying to populate. So see, 31 Turkish pops will migrate each month from Sivrin Shihar to Bolo for the next 120 months. So if you calculate it, we'll get about almost 4,000 pops that will migrate just for that one event. So once the strongest beylik consolidates themselves and crosses the Dardanelles to get to Europe, that press claims button that we've seen before will evolve, giving a good casus belli on the kingdoms and nations outside. So the Balkan Wars, as long as we directly own 120 locations in total and have presence in the Balkans, press claims action in the rise of the Turks situation will also allow us to gain casus belli against provinces in the Balkans. Then the next step is to reach 300 locations, out of which 30 are urban. And once we do that, we're gonna end the classical era of the Ottoman Empire, which is gonna give us at the start just 20 prestige. But see, this event will also grant us the rank of Empire, which comes with significant bonuses and some double edges in the form of unique disaster for empires. And that's an example of this expansion in the Balkans. What's interesting, and I like that approach, because what if you want to play as a different Beylik? Let's say you want to play as a Karavanids. So once you unite the region, you'll be able to stand with a choice. To adopt the Ottoman tag, inheriting all of their content, events, reforms, and everything that they have in the content. Unless it's tier 1 country, they have a lot. But still hold your flag and name, as well as the color on the map. Or, if you don't want to go this way, you can just go ahead and form Sultanate of Rum. But it's not like they only created content for the Ottomans. You see that Beyliks across Anatolia, they also have dedicated flavor content for themselves, like the Germanians, Ainids, Ertids, Karamanids, I assume as well. They also have all their own flavor, just obviously not as much as the Ottomans. You see, on top of that, something that wasn't even mentioned in this dev diary, Ottomans have around 200 dynamic historical events, making it a proper T1 country in terms of flavor. Like, you see, the Birdless Prophet is gonna give you stability, reduces more exhaustion, and you're gonna have a character change his nickname. But yeah, this is all for this main part of the diary. Next week we're gonna talk about Japan, Korea, and Japanese situations. But before that, before we end, let's look at the comment section, because I assume much more content being over there. Is there an event for the earthquake in Gallipoli? Yes, there is. The Gallipoli earthquake. How much flavor is there for Rum? The flavors on being Anatolian Beylik. The one about Rum is mostly cosmetic, so just get a cool, I assume, name and color. How will succession play out in practice? I mean, besides the succession law, it would be fun if there would be a bit of uncertainty regarding which of the heirs ends up succeeding to the throne. Bloody. Will Timarli Shiparis be represented? They were only called to war during wartime, so they should form a small fraction Livius as cavalry, which has strength similar to regular regiments. You see, there's a guarantee form Timar system, which gives you cavalry power and cavalry maintenance costs. There's also more content related to it. We've got a map of the Bay Fortresses distribution. So these are the provinces in green. Are allies portrayed into EU5? Yes, they are. It's a unique policy allied division, which is giving you estate satisfaction, equilibrium, and distance cost to capital through land. So it doesn't give you the special types of subjects. It doesn't look like it. Still nice to see the accurate name change. It's Constantiniye, not Istanbul. It's a long way away, Istanbul. Look at this nice art. Is there anything regarding Enduring in the game? Absolutely there is. There's Enduring Academy event. Well, yeah, this is it for the Ottomans. Just a few notes on my experience playing not just the Ottomans but in Europe on my playtesting time. And they did address it in this dev diary as well, as that Ottoman AI did not expand too much. It was expanding very slowly, so they want to also speed it up a bit. They're doing that already in the current state. And I'm curious how much the player will be able to expand, because who doesn't love fast expansion? Ottomans were originally one of the 4 countries I wanted to play in my testing time, but I didn't get enough time to play them, because I wanted to play Poland, Florence, Byzantium, and the Ottomans. Those are the 4 main ones I wanted to try. I didn't get to the Ottomans, I played actually Pope instead. But hey guys, this is it for today. Let me know what you think about the content about the Ottomans. We did not get to see about 200 of events that they're having to shape your gameplay. But let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe to the channel to get notified about the future videos.